Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. You know, we love to get into all sorts of interesting topics, and today we're going to be exploring decision-making
Decision.
from a biblical perspective. And
Big topic.
it is a big topic, but
Indeed.
we've got a great jumping-off point here. We found this YouTube video from Prophecy Ministries,
Okay.
and it really digs deep into the Hebrew language
Oh,
and its implications for really understanding Scripture.
that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's going to give us some really interesting insights into how we make choices in our own lives.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right off the bat, this video, like, totally blew my mind with this idea that, like, the concrete nature of Hebrew
Okay.
can really, like, unlock this whole deeper level of understanding biblical teachings.
I like that.
Yeah.
A deeper level.
And especially when it comes to decision making.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like almost like we have this, like, secret decoder ring for the Bible.
I love that.
Right.
That's a great analogy.
And the video even talks about, like, imagine encountering, like, Hebrew words carved into a tree,
Wow.
like in the woods. Like, wouldn't that be like a sign?
Oh, yeah. Like that would get your attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And it got me thinking, like, how many signs are we missing in our own lives?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, what if we're just not tuned in to Yahweh's guidance?
Yeah, that's a good point. We can get so busy and distracted
Exactly.
that we miss those signs.
And, and the video really emphasizes this point that we need to start with prayer.
Yes.
Like, seek Yahweh's direction before we do anything else.
Absolutely. Proverbs 16.3. Commit to Yahweh whatever you do, and he will establish your plans.
Powerful.
And I think so often we try to figure things out on our own, right?
Yes.
We rely on our limited understanding, but the answer's right there.
It's so true.
If we just seek him first.
We try to, like, build a house without a blueprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or bake a cake with no recipe.
Right. We end up with this mess.
Total mess.
Yeah. But when we go to Yahweh in prayer, it's like we're asking for that divine blueprint, that recipe for success.
That only he can provide.
Right. And it's not just about asking for guidance.
Right.
It's about being willing to obey.
Yes. And, Proverbs 28.9, whoever turns aside his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination.
Wow.
So we have a responsibility to really align our actions with his teachings.
You know what? That reminds me of something that happened to me just the other day.
Oh.
I was scrolling through social media, right?
Yep. In there.
And I saw this post about this new restaurant
Okay.
that everybody's raving about.
Uh-huh.
The food looked amazing, but then I remembered it wasn't kosher.
Oh.
And, it was like a small decision,
Yeah.
but it was like a test for me,
Interesting.
like of my commitment to following Yahweh's laws.
I think those little tests come up all the time.
They do.
Don't they? And that's where I think that concept of carrot comes in. Yeah. It's the Hebrew word for decision.
Okay.
And it means to allow the highest desire,
Okay.
but it's connected to karoth,
Karoth.
which means to cut off.
Oh, wow.
So the video is suggesting that to make a true decision,
Yeah.
we often have to cut off other options,
Wow.
even the tempting ones,
Right.
to pursue what really aligns with Yahweh's will.
It's like making this definitive choice, like a surgeon
Precise.
making a precise incision.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, the video connects this idea to the decision to become a disciple of Yahweh.
Right.
And, Luke 14.2533 talks about the cost of discipleship, reminding us we can't serve two masters.
You can't.
Right. We have to be all in,
Yeah.
fully committed. Yeah. Just like a builder carefully calculates the resources needed before constructing a tower.
It's a great analogy, right?
Yeah.
And that leads us to that second step, the video outlines for making these better decisions.
Okay.
Defining the decision.
Define it.
Yeah. Cut through the mental clutter. Be specific about what you're trying to decide.
Okay.
The video compares it to choosing the right preset.
The right preset.
If you use the wrong one, it leads to confusion and more problems.
Right. Like try to bake a cake using the pizza setting on your oven.
Exactly. Disaster.
Yeah.
But when we define our decisions clearly, we're setting the right preset for our lives.
I like that.
Aligning ourselves with his plan.
Okay.
Aligning. And that alignment brings us to that third step.
Okay.
Being ready to accept and obey his answer.
Even if it's not what we want.
Even if it's not what we want.
Oof. That's a tough one.
It is. This is where humility comes in.
It's recognizing that his ways are higher than our ways.
Yes.
His thoughts are higher than our thoughts.
And Proverbs 3.5-6 reminds us, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight.
Man, that's such a comforting verse.
It is. It is.
Especially when you're feeling lost or confused.
Yes.
It's just this reminder that we don't have to have all the answers. We just need to trust in his guidance.
Trust.
And that trust leads us to the fourth step,
Okay.
exercising our faith.
I love that.
The video highlights how decision-making can be an opportunity to really strengthen our faith.
It's like a muscle, right? The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
in Romans 12.3 talks about the measure of faith that Yahweh has given each of us.
It's like a spiritual bicep curl.
I love that.
Every time we make a decision based on faith, we're doing a spiritual bicep curl.
We are. And that builds our confidence in his faithfulness.
It does. It does.
Right. The more we experience his provision and his guidance in our lives, the easier it becomes to trust him in the future.
Absolutely. We're building a track record of his faithfulness.
Yes.
Which reminds me of Hebrews 11.6.
Okay.
And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him.
So making decisions rooted in faith.
Yes.
It isn't just about making the right choice.
Right.
It's about deepening our relationship with Yahweh,
Deeper.
demonstrating our trust in his goodness and love.
That's beautifully put.
Thank you.
And that leads us to that final step in this process.
Okay.
Seeking concrete direction.
Concrete direction.
This is where we move from that abstract thinking
Yeah.
to actionable steps.
It's like taking that leap of faith.
Yes.
And then figuring out how to land safely on the other side.
Exactly. You know what's really cool?
Right.
The video draws this fascinating contrast between the Hebrew language,
Okay.
which is very concrete, and English, which can be more abstract.
Interesting.
And it uses that example, remember, of encountering those Hebrew words carved into that tree.
Right.
Like those words have a clear meaning. It's tangible. It's not open to interpretation.
So it's about getting specific,
Yeah.
gathering information,
Yes.
seeking counsel from those who have experience.
Like our friend in the video.
Right. He's dedicated his life to study the Bible.
Yeah. He's got experience.
It's like being a detective.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Gathering clues to solve a case.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
So got to be proactive.
Proactive.
Yeah.
I like it. And that proactive approach is really key when we're talking about seeking counsel.
Yeah.
The video highlights this wisdom in Proverbs 11.14,
Okay.
where there is no guidance a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety.
We don't have to go it alone.
We don't.
We really don't.
No? Yeah.
It's like having a board of advisors
I like that.
for our lives, right?
Yeah.
People that we can trust to give us different perspectives.
Divot insights. Yeah.
And sometimes I think the most valuable counsel comes from those who've walked a similar path.
Oh, absolutely. People who have faced similar decisions.
Yeah. And they can share their experiences.
And their wisdom.
Yeah.
The video uses this really powerful example of Elijah.
Okay, Elijah.
He was a prophet who faced some immense challenges,
He did.
but he remained steadfast in his faith.
Wow. That's,
His story's in 1 Kings 19.
okay.
And it's this beautiful reminder that even when we feel alone, Yahweh is with us,
He is.
guiding our steps.
It's so powerful to think about Elijah hiding in a cave,
Yeah. Yeah.
feeling defeated.
Right.
And then Yahweh speaks to him
Yes.
in this still small voice.
It makes you wonder, right?
It does.
How often we miss those whispers.
We do. We miss those whispers.
Because we're not paying attention.
They're just not tuned in.
Yeah, we're not tuned.
And it highlights this importance of being present, quieting our minds
Stillness.
so that we can actually hear Yahweh's voice,
It's like tuning a radio to
Yeah.
the right frequency.
right?
If we're constantly bombarded by all this noise and distractions,
Yeah, the static.
we're going to miss those signals he's sending our way.
Absolutely. And that reminds me of the importance of being ready to accept and obey
Ooh,
his answer. Even if it's not what we initially wanted,
it's hard,
it's so hard.
isn't it?
The video talks about this need for humility,
Humility, yes.
for surrendering our will
Surrendering to his.
to his, and that is tough,
It is.
especially when our desires are so strong.
Oh, think about Jonah.
Jonah.
In the book of Jonah,
Okay,
he ran from Yahweh's call
he did.
because he didn't want to go to Nineveh.
Right.
He had his own plans.
He wanted to go to the beach.
He did. He had his own
Oh.
preferences, but ultimately
Yeah.
he had to surrender
Yes.
to Yahweh's will.
You know, the story always makes me chuckle a little bit.
It's relatable.
It's so relatable.
Yeah,
Like,
we've all been there.
we've all been there.
Wanting to do things our way, even when we know
Deep down,
Yahweh has a different plan.
that internal tug of war.
It is a tug of war.
Right.
Between our will and his.
And sometimes, like Jonah,
Yes.
we try to run in the opposite direction.
Well, we do.
Oh.
But, like the video points out, obedience is key
It is.
to effective prayer.
Right.
Proverbs 28.9 tells us that whoever turns aside his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer, is an abomination.
It's like trying to have a conversation with someone
Yeah.
while wearing noise-canceling headphones.
Yes. You can talk all you want.
We can talk all we want.
But if you're not listening,
If you're not listening,
the communication breaks down.
it breaks down completely.
And that brings us back to this idea of exercising our faith.
Right.
Stepping out in trust.
Even when we don't have the answer.
Even we don't have all the answers, And the video uses that analogy of exercising a muscle.
Right.
The more you use it,
The stronger it gets.
the stronger it gets.
It's like learning to ride a bike.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
At first, it's scary and wobbly.
It is.
But with practice,
yeah.
it becomes like second nature.
You just get that confidence
You do.
as we experience success.
We do. And those successes become stepping stones
Right.
for bigger challenges.
It's the bigger challenges.
And that confidence in Yahweh's faithfulness, that's what pleases him.
That's what pleases him.
Remember Hebrews 11.6. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him.
Our faith.
Yes.
Our trust in his goodness.
The greatest gift we can offer.
Right.
Our faith.
And that faith becomes our anchor,
Yes.
in the storms of life.
It does.
When we face those difficult decisions,
Yeah, it does.
we can hold on to that truth.
To that truth.
That he is with us, guiding us.
Always.
Even when we can't see the way forward.
It's like having a compass.
Ooh.
That always points north.
Right.
No matter how lost we feel.
No matter how lost.
And sometimes that guidance comes through seeking that concrete direction.
Yeah.
Like the video emphasizes.
That concrete direction.
Moving beyond the abstract what-ifs. Gathering practical information.
It's like the difference between saying, I want to travel the world someday.
Okay.
And actually booking a flight.
Yes.
And packing your bag.
Taking action.
Right.
The video encourages us to be proactive.
Proactive.
To seek counsel from those who have experience.
Yes.
To research our options. It's about taking those steps.
Tangible steps.
Toward our goals.
Even if they seem small.
Even if they're small.
Right.
Or insignificant at first.
It's like planting a seed.
Oh, I like that.
We may not see the results right away.
Right.
But with time, patience, consistent nurturing, that seed will blossom.
It will.
Into something beautiful.
Something beautiful. And, that process of growth, of seeking his guidance and putting our faith into action.
Yeah.
That's what makes discipleship so rewarding.
It really is.
It's not always easy.
No.
But it's always worth it.
Always worth it. It's like climbing a mountain.
Ooh. I like that.
Right. It's challenging. Yeah. Sometimes even painful.
It is.
But the view from the top is breathtaking.
It is. And the best part is you don't have to climb alone.
You don't.
You have Yahweh by your side every step of the way.
Guiding our steps.
Encouraging us.
Celebrating with us.
When we reach that summit.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring decision-making through this lens of faith, using this teaching from Prophecy Ministries as our guide. And what's really resonating with me is this whole idea of seeking concrete direction.
Yes.
It's like taking all the abstract faith concepts and turning them into an action plan.
Yeah, bridging that gap between believing and doing.
Right.
James 2.26 says,
okay.
For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also.
So we're not just called to believe.
Right.
We're called to act.
To act.
Right.
To demonstrate our trust.
Put that faith into practice.
Through our actions.
It's like that saying, actions speak louder than words. We can talk all day long about our faith.
Right.
But if our choices don't reflect that.
Yeah.
It's just empty talk.
It's empty. That video really challenged me to think about the areas where I might be falling short.
Ooh.
Where my actions don't quite line up with my beliefs.
It's like holding up a mirror.
It is. It's like a mirror.
To our lives and being like,
am I really living this out?
Yeah, am I walking the walk?
Yeah.
Right?
Am I really living this out?
And that can be uncomfortable.
It can be, but it's necessary.
It is.
It's for growth.
The video uses this funny example.
Oh, yeah.
Of someone struggling to resist.
I remember this one.
A plate of pork chocks.
At a restaurant.
At a restaurant.
You know, we've all been there.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right? It's a relatable struggle.
It is.
Because obedience isn't always easy.
No.
Even in those little things,
Yeah.
small choices.
We all have those moments where we're tempted
to
compromise.
Take the easy road.
Right.
Choose the easy path.
The easy path over the righteous one.
But you know, Proverbs 16.18 reminds us,
Okay.
pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall.
So when we let pride dictate our choices,
Yeah.
we're setting ourselves up
For failure.
for failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like building a house on a foundation of sand.
Exactly. It might look good at first,
Right.
but it's not going to last.
It's not going to last.
True strength comes from building our lives
Yeah.
on that solid rock
On that solid rock
of His Word.
of His Word, even when it means
Making the tough choices.
making the tough choices. And that's where prayer comes in.
It does.
Right.
Yes.
It's not just about asking for what we want.
No. It's about aligning our desires with His will.
Right.
You know, Matthew 6.10 says, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven."
So it's about surrendering our agenda
Surrendering.
and embracing Him.
Embracing His...
You know, it's like going to a fancy restaurant
Okay.
and saying to the chef,
Okay.
surprise me.
I love that.
I trust you to create something delicious.
You're putting your order
We're putting our order
in the hands of the master chef,
in the hands of the master chef, exactly.
knowing that he's going to choose the best ingredients
The best,
and prepare the perfect meal,
even if it's not what we were expecting.
even if it's not what we expected.
Right.
I love that analogy.
And it reminds us,
Yeah.
we don't have to have all the answers.
We don't.
We just need to trust
Trust in His guidance.
in His guidance,
His timing.
His perfect timing.
You know, Ecclesiastes 3.1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens."
So it's about letting go of our need to control
Letting go.
every little detail.
Yes.
And trusting that He's working behind the scenes.
He is.
Right.
He's orchestrated.
He's orchestrating these events for our good.
For our good.
Even when we can't see the big picture.
It's like being a passenger in a car.
Ooh.
You can trust the driver to get you to your destination, even if you don't know the route.
Even if you don't know the route. And sometimes those
Yeah.
scenic routes are the ones
The best ones.
we wouldn't have chosen for ourselves.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of faith, isn't it?
It is.
It's about surrendering to the unknown.
Embracing the adventure.
Trusting that He will lead us.
Exactly where we need to be.
Exactly where we need to be. And that trust, that
Okay.
willingness to step out in faith.
That's what pleases Him.
That's what pleases Him. Hebrews 11.6 reminds us that without faith, it is impossible to please Him.
Right.
Our faith is a testament to His faithfulness.
It's like this dance, this beautiful partnership.
I love this.
Right. Between our human efforts and His divine guidance.
Beautiful.
We take a step.
He leads us forward.
We stumble.
He catches us.
We trust.
He provides.
She provides. And as we continue this dance,
Yes.
as we seek His guidance
in every decision.
in every decision, our lives become this tapestry,
Ooh,
woven with threads of His grace.
His love.
His love.
His faithfulness.
His faithfulness.
A masterpiece in the making.
It is.
A testament to the power of surrender.
To His perfect will.
And that, my friend, is a deep dive worth taking.
It is so. As you face decisions in your own life,
Yes.
remember to start with prayer.
Seek concrete direction.
And trust in the one who holds your future.
In His loving hands.
In His loving hands. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for listening. And until next time,
Keep seeking
keep growing
and keep diving deep.
into the truth that sets us free.